The warmth of the day still lingers in the air as you arrive at the edge of Sevilla, where the Guadalquivir River moves like liquid amber through the settling dusk. The sun has begun its descent behind the city's skyline, painting the water in strokes of copper and gold, each ripple catching light like scattered coins. You stand at the quay, your palms resting on the stone balustrade, still holding the day's heat like a gentle memory. The surface feels smooth beneath your fingertips, worn by countless hands over centuries. Each person pausing here to watch this same river carry fragments of sunset toward the sea. From somewhere across the water comes the faint strum of a guitar, its notes drifting like leaves on the evening breeze. The sound is unhurried, exploratory, as if the musician is simply conversing with the approaching night. Then comes the soft percussion of palmas, hands clapping in a rhythm that seems to rise from the stones themselves, measured and ancient. You let your breath fall into sync with this gentle beat, feeling your chest rise and fall with the city's own breathing. The air you draw in carries hints of what awaits. Orange blossoms releasing their sweetness as the temperature drops, the smoke from distant cooking fires seasoning the breeze. The mineral scent of ancient stone that has absorbed centuries of sun. Each inhalation brings Sevilla closer, wrapping you in its evening embrace. The city's bell towers begin their nightly transformation. What were white pillars in harsh daylight now glow with a soft rose hue, their surfaces catching the last light like tall candles against the deepening violet sky. The Giralda rises highest among them, its weather vane, the Giraldillo, catching a final gleam of gold before the sun slips lower. You watch as shadows climb its ancient walls, the same shadows that have climbed this tower when it was still a minaret, when muezzins called the faithful to prayer across these same rooftops. Church bells sound the hour, their bronze voices overlapping in gentle waves. The sound rolls across the terracotta roofs and dissolves into the river's constant murmur. You feel the vibrations through the stone beneath your hands, a subtle tremor that connects you to the city's beating heart. You move slowly along the embankment, your footsteps joining the quiet percussion of the evening. The cobblestones beneath your feet still radiate warmth, but you can feel them beginning to cool, the heat dissipating into the darkening air. Other figures pass like shadows, couples walking arm in arm, their voices low and content, speaking in the musical cadence of Andalusian Spanish. An elderly person walks a small dog that trots ahead, its nails clicking on worn stones. A cyclist glides past with a soft whir of wheels, the breeze of their passing cool against your skin. Everyone moves at the same unhurried pace, as if the city itself has set the tempo for this hour between day and night. There's no rush here, no urgency, only the patient unfolding of evening, as natural as the river's flow. The air shifts slightly, bringing new sounds from the streets that lead away from the water. You hear the metallic song of shutters being drawn for the night, wood against wood, in a rhythm as old as the buildings themselves. Someone waters potted geraniums on a balcony, the splash of water on leaves mixing with the distant laughter of children being called inside for dinner. These everyday sounds weave together into Sevilla's evening symphony, each note falling into place with practiced ease. A woman calls out a greeting to her neighbor across a narrow street. The reply floats back, warm and familiar. Somewhere, a radio plays a copla, the singer's voice threading through the air like silk. As you continue along the river, the light performs its slow dance of departure. The western sky transforms from gold to coral, from coral to deep plum. Each shift so gradual you barely notice until you pause and find the world has changed around you. You stop again, letting your eyes adjust to each new shade, feeling your body settle deeper into the evening's rhythm. Street lamps begin their nightly awakening, one by one, like stars appearing in an earthbound constellation. Their warm glow creates pools of amber light along the quay, illuminating the underside of the Triana Bridge's arches, turning iron and stone to honey. The shadows they cast stretch long and soft, merging with the gathering darkness in gentle gradients. The temperature drops just enough to bring relief without chill. Your skin welcomes the cooling air, and you feel your shoulders release, letting go of tensions that had gathered there without your knowing. The city seems to exhale with you, a collective sigh as the heat loosens its grip and the gentler hours begin. You breathe deeply again, feeling the cooler air fill your lungs, carrying with it the perfume of night-blooming jasmine that tumbles over garden walls throughout the old quarter. You find another spot along the stone balustrade, this one beneath a plane tree whose leaves whisper secrets to the evening breeze. Your hands explore the stone's texture, smooth on top where countless palms have polished it, rougher on the sides where the original chisel marks remain. Below, the river continues its patient journey, and you watch as a small boat cuts through the darkening water. Its wake spreads in perfect symmetry, each ripple catching the last light before dissolving back into stillness. The boatman raises a hand in greeting to someone on the opposite bank, the gesture casual and timeless, repeated perhaps thousands of times across the centuries. Behind you, the city prepares for its nightly transformation. Windows begin to glow from within, each one a small theatre of domestic life. Through one, you glimpse the blue flicker of a television. Through another, the warm yellow of a kitchen where someone prepares the evening meal, the scent of olive oil and garlic drifting down to the street. A reading lamp illuminates a figure bent over a book, lost in another world, while Sevilla spins its magic outside. The guitar music grows slightly stronger now, as if drawing closer. Or perhaps you're simply more attuned to its rhythm. The palmas continue their hypnotic beat, now joined by a voice, not singing words but releasing long melodic vowels that seem to pull from somewhere deep in the chest. It's the beginning of Cante Hondo, the deep song of flamenco, born in courtyards and taverns not far from where you stand. The sounds pull at something within you, an invitation to follow, to discover what lies beyond the river's edge. A stronger breeze stirs the plane trees, their leaves rustling like gentle applause. It carries new scents, the smoke from a cigarette, the sweetness of churros being fried somewhere nearby, the green smell of the river itself. You watch as the breeze creates patterns on the water's surface, each ripple a small journey from one bank to the other. The city's energy has shifted completely now, from the bright activity of day to something softer, more intimate. From a nearby cafe comes the comfortable murmur of conversation. the words indistinct, but the tone warm and relaxed. You hear the clink of glasses touching in a toast, the scrape of chairs being adjusted, the soft rustle of a newspaper being folded for the night. All these small sounds create a tapestry of evening life that wraps around you. Familiar, even if you've never heard them before. As full darkness finally claims the sky, Sevilla reveals yet another face. The harsh lines and bright colours of noon are gone, replaced by the forgiving glow of lamplight that turns every corner into a possibility, every doorway into an invitation. The city feels both ancient and immediate, its stones holding the accumulated warmth of countless days, while cooling beneath the night air. You can feel this duality in everything, in the medieval walls that now frame modern cafes, in the Roman foundations that support apartment buildings, in the Moorish arches that lead to contemporary galleries. You take one last look at the river, now a dark ribbon reflecting the lights of the city like captured stars. The water's movement is barely visible, but you can hear its constant whisper, the same sound that has accompanied this city through conquests and celebrations, through the departure of ships bound for the Americas, through ordinary evenings just like this one. Your breathing has found its rhythm with this ancient flow. Slowly, you turn away from the water, your palms sliding off the balustrade, still feeling its warmth like a parting gift. The old quarter beckons with its promise of narrow lanes and hidden plazas. You can already smell the orange trees that line those ancient paths, hear the fountains singing in concealed courtyards. The guitar's call grows clearer, leading you forward, and you follow its thread into the welcoming shadows, where Sevilla keeps its closest secrets. The narrow streets of the old quarter draw you in like whispered invitations, each turn revealing another layer of Sevilla's evening embrace. Your footsteps land softly against worn cobblestones, their surface still radiating the day's warmth through your soles. The air has shifted now, cooling just enough to carry the perfume of the city, that unmistakable sweetness of orange blossoms that seems to breathe from every corner, every hidden garden, every tree-lined plaza you pass. Above you, the buildings lean close, their whitewashed walls glowing pale blue in the deepening twilight. Some facades feel smooth as water-worn stone, others textured with centuries of paint and plaster, each surface holding the last light differently. Iron balconies curve outward in delicate spirals, their shadows painting lace patterns across the walls. From these perches, potted geraniums cascade in waterfalls of red and pink, their petals soft as silk in the dimming light. You pause at the entrance to a small courtyard, drawn by the sound of water. A gentle, persistent trickle that seems to slow your heartbeat. Through an open archway, you glimpse a fountain at the center of a tiled patio, its flow mixing with the whisper of palm fronds overhead. The tiles beneath form intricate geometric patterns, blues and greens and golds that shimmer even in shadow. This is the architecture of coolness, designed centuries ago to offer refuge from Andalusian heat. The water catches what remains of daylight, sending ripples of reflection across the surrounding walls, like gentle waves of light. Your breath deepens as you move into the maze of streets, noticing how the city reveals itself in patient layers. First comes sound, the distant melody of dishes being cleared from a late dinner, the low murmur of conversation floating from an open window, the soft click of heels on stone as someone makes their unhurried way home. Then, scent arrives in slow waves, the bright sweetness of orange blossoms giving way to something deeper. Olive oil warming in a pan, garlic and saffron releasing their essence into the night air. Through a kitchen window you catch the golden glow of cooking, the rhythmic motion of someone stirring a pot, preparing tomorrow's gazpacho perhaps, or the last of tonight's simple meal. The streets themselves seem to breathe with you, expanding into small plazas where families gather around outdoor tables. Children play quietly near a fountain, their voices soft as moth wings, while their parents linger over tiny cups of coffee that catch lamplight like drops of amber. The cafe tables are covered in tiles too, each one unique, depicting scenes of daily life or abstract patterns that dance gently before your eyes. Overhead, strings of lights create a soft canopy, not bright enough to chase away the darkness, but sufficient to wrap everything in a warm, honeyed glow. You follow a particularly narrow alley, barely wide enough for two people to pass. The walls here feel cool and rough beneath your fingertips, limestone worn smooth in places by countless hands, steadying themselves along this same ancient path. Your shoulders relax as you move through this intimate space. Halfway down, a small shrine is set into the wall, a ceramic Madonna surrounded by white carnations, a single candle flickering behind glass. The flame wavers but never goes out, protected in its alcove, casting shadows that make the figure seem to breathe with the same rhythm as your own slowing breath. Emerging from the alley, you find yourself in a broader street, where orange trees line both sides. Their branches meet overhead, creating a living tunnel of leaves and fruit. Even in the darkness, you can make out the spheres of oranges hanging like paper lanterns, too bitter to eat but perfect for perfuming the air. The scent is strongest here, washing over you in gentle waves, mixing with the earthier smell of damp soil from recent watering. Someone has just cleaned the street. You can feel the coolness rising from the wet stones through your feet, a pleasant chill that travels up through your legs, grounding you in this moment. A door opens nearby, spilling warm light onto the pavement like honey. From within comes the soft sound of a television, voices speaking in melodic Spanish, before the door closes again with a gentle thud. These glimpses into private life feel like quiet gifts, not intrusions but tender reminders that this ancient city continues to pulse with everyday life. In the apartment above, someone practices guitar, the notes floating down like drops of rain, each one clear and separate in the still air. You pause, letting the music wash over you, feeling your breathing naturally sync with the gentle rhythm. You turn another corner and discover a small plaza you hadn't noticed before, as if it materialized just for this moment. At its center stands a cross made of wrought iron, elaborate yet delicate, mounted on a stone pedestal worn smooth by centuries of weather. Around it, benches invite rest, their wooden slats polished by generations of evening sitters. An elderly couple occupies one bench, wrapped in comfortable silence, her hand resting lightly on his arm. They watch as you pass, offering the slightest nod. that universal acknowledgement between strangers sharing the same peaceful moment. The plaza opens onto a wider avenue where the architecture shifts subtly. Here, the buildings grow taller, their facades more ornate. Carved stone fruits and flowers decorate doorways, and windows are framed with columns that hold shadows in their fluting. Some buildings show their age more clearly. Gentle cracks running through plaster like ancient rivers. Iron balconies touched with rust at the joints. But this weathering only adds to their beauty, like laugh lines on a beloved face. As you walk, your steps naturally slow, and you become aware of the subtle slope of the streets, how they guide you gently downward, always toward the river. It's as if the entire old quarter was designed to deliver you eventually to the water's edge, no matter which winding path you choose. The cobblestones beneath your feet change too. Some sections newer, more uniform, others ancient and uneven. Each stone fitted by hand centuries ago, now worn smooth by countless footsteps like yours. Through gaps between buildings, you catch glimpses of church towers and domes, their ceramic tiles catching moonlight now that the sun has fully retired. The tiles create patterns visible even at night, zigzags and stars that seem to pulse with their own soft inner light. These towers serve as gentle landmarks, helping you orient yourself in the maze, though getting lost here feels less like confusion and more like a kind of floating, a surrender to the city's ancient rhythm. The sounds of the evening continue to soften around you. Early as energy has mellowed into something quieter, more intimate. Restaurants are moving through their final courses, the gentle clink of wine glasses and warm laughter drifting through open doors. A fountain nearby changes its tune, the water falling in a different pattern that sounds almost like a lullaby. Even the air seems to move more slowly now, carrying its cargo of scents with patient grace. You find yourself breathing more deeply, your shoulders dropping as the peace of the old quarter seeps into your bones. The scent of orange blossoms remains, but mingles now with new notes. The green smell of the river approaching, a thread of jasmine from a hidden garden, the faintest hint of old stone releasing the day's heat. The cobblestones beneath your feet have cooled completely, sending a pleasant chill up through your soles with each step. As you near the edge of the old quarter, the streets begin to open gradually, like hands uncurling, preparing you for what lies beyond. The sound of water grows stronger. Not just fountains now, but something deeper, more ancient. You can feel the pull of the river ahead, its presence like a magnet drawing you forward. The air moves more freely here, carrying whispers of the stories that have flowed along these banks for centuries. Your footsteps lead you toward a set of worn stone steps that seem to descend toward the water, each one polished smooth by time. The coolness of the river air brushes against your skin, and you know that just ahead, where the old quarter meets the Guadalquivir, more layers of Sevilla's long memory wait patiently to be discovered, carried on the eternal rhythm of flowing water. The stones beneath your feet have known many names, many languages, many prayers. Here in Sevilla, history doesn't rest behind glass cases or velvet ropes. It breathes through every archway, whispers from every fountain, rises with the evening air from sun-warmed courtyards. You pause beneath an ancient arch, where Roman columns support Moorish horseshoe curves, crowned by Christian bells that toll the hour with gentle bronze voices. The sound ripples through your chest, a vibration that seems to come from the stones themselves. You breathe in slowly, letting the night air fill your lungs. It carries the scent of old stone, mixed with orange blossoms, river moisture with a hint of jasmine. This layering of time surrounds you, holds you, invites you deeper into its mysteries. This city began as Hispalis, a Roman trading post along the Guadalquivir, where merchants loaded amphorae with olive oil destined for distant tables. Those early settlers recognized what you sense tonight, how the river bends here like a protective arm, how the land rises just enough to catch the breeze, how the soil grows orange trees as readily as it grows stories. You can almost hear their voices in the wind, Latin words softened by centuries into Spanish syllables. But it was the arrival of the Moors in 711 that transformed these streets into something magical, something that still shimmers in the darkness around you. For 5 centuries this was Ishbilia, jewel of Al-Andalus, where Muslim scholars translated ancient Greek texts, while poets composed verses about nightingales and fountains. The Almohads raised their great mosque here, its minaret reaching toward heaven with mathematical precision, each geometric pattern a meditation, rendered in brick and tile. That tower still stands, the Giralda, though church bells now ring where the muezzin once called. You can see it from here, illuminated against the purple sky, its proportions so perfect that even after centuries, architects still come to study its grace. The light plays across its surface, picking out details that shift and change as clouds pass overhead, as if the tower itself is breathing. The Moors understood water the way musicians understand silence, as something essential, something that gives shape to everything else. They channeled it through the city in a network of fountains and pools, each courtyard becoming an oasis where orange trees offered shade and their blossoms perfumed the air. Even now in the courtyard beside you, water trickles through channels cut 8 centuries ago. The sound draws you closer. You rest your hand on the cool marble edge of a fountain, feeling the slight vibration of water moving through ancient pipes. The surface ripples with each drop, creating circles that expand and fade, a rhythm as hypnotic as breathing. The sound changes subtly, now a whisper, now a gentle laugh, now something like a lullaby, sung in a language older than words. When the Christian kings reclaimed Sevilla in 1248, they found a city too beautiful to destroy. Instead, they wove their own dreams into its fabric. The great mosque became a cathedral, though they kept the orange tree courtyard, where ablutions once prepared the faithful for prayer. The Alcazar Palace, built by Moorish craftsmen for Christian kings, became a testament to Mudéjar art, that uniquely Iberian blend, where Islamic patterns frame Catholic symbols, where Arabic calligraphy decorates royal chambers, where 2 worlds meet and discover they speak the same language of beauty. You drift past walls where this convergence shows itself in small details. A window grille that catches moonlight in star-shaped patterns, tiles that shift from deep blue to green as you pass, reflecting techniques perfected in distant Damascus and Fez. Your fingers trail along a tiled wall, feeling the subtle ridges where one color meets another, the slight coolness of the glaze against your skin. The air itself seems to carry this mixing: jasmine from Persian gardens, orange trees from China brought by Arab traders, roses that bloomed in Roman atriums. Each scent tells part of the story, each one arriving in its own century, staying to become essential to what Sevilla means. You pause, letting your breath slow, feeling how the night air moves differently here. Cooler where it passes through stone arches, warmer where it lingers in protected corners. Your body naturally adjusts to this rhythm, this gentle alternation between coolness and warmth. Then came 1492, that year that changed everything. Columbus sailed from these shores, and suddenly Sevilla held the monopoly on trade with the Americas. Gold and silver flowed through the Casa de Contratación, the trading house that controlled all commerce with the New World. The city grew drunk on wealth, raising Baroque churches with altars of gold leaf so thick they seemed to glow with their own light. Even in darkness you can sense their presence. Massive doors that creak with age, facades so ornate they seem to ripple in moonlight. Murillo painted his ethereal virgins here. Velázquez took his first lessons in these streets, and everywhere art bloomed like the flowers in its courtyards. You can feel it in the very air, that sense of creation, of beauty being pulled from stone and canvas and sound. But beneath the grandeur, in the narrow alleys and working quarters, another culture was taking root. The Roma people, the Gitanos, brought with them songs of longing that mixed with Moorish melodies, Jewish laments, and Andalusian folk traditions. In the forges and taverns of Triana, across the river, flamenco was born. Not as performance, but as life itself, raw and real. The cante hondo, the deep song, emerged from these streets like truth drawn from a well, speaking of love and loss, exile and belonging, the very emotions that cities are built to contain. You hear it even now, faint but unmistakable. Someone practicing palmas, the rhythmic clapping that forms flamenco's heartbeat. The sound comes from an open window above, where lamplight throws shadows against white curtains. You stop, letting the rhythm wash over you. It's complex yet natural, like a heartbeat with elaborations, like breathing made into art. This isn't music for tourists. This is someone keeping tradition alive in their own home, the way their grandparents did, the way centuries of Sevillanos have done, when the night grows quiet enough to really listen. The sound seems to pull something deep from within your chest, a recognition that goes beyond words. The rhythms of flamenco mirror the rhythms of the city itself. Moments of intensity, followed by profound stillness. Passion that gives way to contemplation. There's the alegría, bright and quick like morning light on the river. The soleá, solitary and profound, like walking these empty streets before dawn. The seguiría, tragic and deep, carrying the weight of all the cultures that have passed through these gates. Each form holds memory, each one a different way of being human in this particular place. As you continue walking, your steps unconsciously begin to match the distant rhythm. The cobblestones feel different under your feet now. Not just old stones, but instruments, each one contributing its note to the symphony of footfalls that have crossed them. You notice how the city's layers reveal themselves in unexpected ways. A Hebrew inscription appears on a doorframe, nearly worn smooth but still visible to those who know to look. Your fingers find it, tracing letters that once meant home to someone. A horseshoe arch frames a Christian virgin in her niche, candles flickering at her feet, the light creating a dance of shadows that seems both Moorish and Catholic. Neither, and both. A Renaissance palace, built atop Roman foundations, its cellar still showing the ancient opus cementitium, concrete that has outlasted empires. Time doesn't move in straight lines here. It spirals, doubles back, creates harmonies with itself. You feel it in your own breathing, how it has slowed to match the city's rhythm, how your heartbeat has found sync with the distant fountain's pulse. The night air carries stories on its currents, cooler now, with that particular softness that comes in the deep hours. Here, where a small plaza opens before you, the Inquisition once held its trials. Yet the same square later hosted some of the city's most joyous festivals. The stones remember both. You can almost feel it through the soles of your feet, how they've absorbed both tears and laughter, both fear and celebration. That mansion with the coat of arms above its door, built with gold from Potosi, its owner's fortune made in mines an ocean away. The humble chapel tucked into the corner, founded by sailors, grateful for safe return, their votive ship still hanging from its ceiling like prayers suspended in time. Each building breathes its own rhythm into the night. Even the traditions that seem timeless have their histories. The Semana Santa processions that fill these streets each spring blend pre-Christian fertility rites with medieval passion plays. Their haunting saetas, those arrow-sharp songs of devotion, owing as much to the call of the muezzin as to Gregorian chant. The April fair, with its casetas and sevillanas dancing, began as a cattle market only in 1847, yet now seems as essential to the city's soul as the river itself. You find yourself drawn toward the cathedral, its Gothic spires reaching into darkness like fingers trying to touch stars. It's the largest Gothic cathedral in the world, built to make visitors say, "Those who built this were mad." Yet its madness has method. Every stone calculated to inspire awe, every window placed to catch light at the perfect angle. Inside, Columbus sleeps his controversial sleep, his tomb held aloft by kings, while above, the Giralda watches over all, Christian bells in a Muslim tower, a symbol of how civilizations can build upon rather than destroy each other. The thought settles into you like sediment in still water, peaceful and profound. The breeze shifts, bringing the scent of river water mixed with night-blooming jasmine. It moves across your skin like silk, cool and gentle. Somewhere, a fountain whispers secrets in Arabic to Spanish tiles. A cat slinks through shadows that have sheltered Romans, Visigoths, Moors, Jews, Christians, and countless others who found in Sevilla a place where cultures don't just coexist but interweave, creating something entirely new while honoring what came before. You pause again, letting your weight settle fully onto your feet, feeling the connection between your body and these ancient streets. This is what moves through you now, not the weight of history but its lightness, the way it dances through the present moment like a guitar melody that knows 1,000 variations, but never loses its essential tune. Each civilization that claimed Sevilla left its gifts. Roman pragmatism in the straight roads that still anchor the city's plan. Islamic poetry in every fountain's song. Jewish philosophy in the questions the city poses to itself. Christian passion in the fervor with which life is celebrated here. You breathe it all in, feeling your chest expand with night air that has circulated through these streets for millennia. As you round another corner, the sound of water grows stronger, more musical. You're approaching one of the old Moorish baths, now restored, where star-shaped skylights once let in just enough light to see by, never enough to harsh the intimate darkness. The builders understood something about the necessity of shadows, about how beauty needs both revelation and concealment to truly enchant. The sound of water echoes differently here, multiplied and softened by stone chambers, creating a symphony of drops and flows. The city holds you gently in its accumulated wisdom, each era's contribution adding another note to the chord that resonates through these streets. Your breathing has become so slow now, so deep, matching the rhythm of centuries rather than seconds. Tomorrow's sun will reveal the sharp edges, the tourist crowds, the modern city's urgencies. But tonight, in this in-between hour, you can feel the true Sevilla, the one that exists in the space between cultures, in the pause between heartbeats, in the silence between guitar strings. As you continue deeper into the old quarter, the streets narrow further, drawing you forward like a whispered invitation. The stones grow older beneath your feet, worn smooth by countless passages, each step a gentle massage through your shoes. The air grows thicker with jasmine and orange blossom, almost tangible, like walking through perfumed silk. And ahead, yes, you can hear it more clearly now. The soft strumming of a guitar grows more distinct, more inviting. Not just one guitar, but perhaps two, their voices interweaving like the cultures that shaped these streets. The shuffle of feet finding rhythm, the soft percussion of palms, the occasional flourish of a singer testing their voice against the night. The sounds pull you forward with invisible threads, promising intimacy, promising secrets, promising the living culture that makes all this history breathe. The Barrio Santa Cruz awaits just ahead, its maze of alleys already beginning to embrace you, where every corner promises another layer of this endlessly unfolding story. The night has fully arrived now, and you find yourself drawn into the Barrio Santa Cruz, where the old Jewish quarter once thrived. The temperature has settled into that precise Mediterranean comfort that makes your skin forget it exists. Your footsteps echo softly against worn cobblestones, each one polished smooth by centuries of wanderers like yourself. The alleyways here refuse straight lines. They curve and bend, following some ancient logic known only to the builders who first laid these paths. Whitewashed walls press close on either side, their surfaces rough with lime plaster that catches the amber glow of wrought iron lanterns. Every few steps, the walls open unexpectedly into tiny plazas, some no larger than a room, others wide enough for a fountain, and a bench beneath trailing bougainvillea. In one such plaza you pause. A ceramic fountain bubbles at its center, its tiles arranged in patterns that shift between deep blues and whites in the lamplight. The water's voice is constant but gentle, neither rushing nor stagnant, just a steady conversation with the stone basin below. Around the fountain's edge, potted geraniums release their green scent into the night air, mixing with the ever-present sweetness of orange blossoms that seems to seep from the very walls. You move deeper into the Barrio, guided by nothing more than curiosity and the soft pull of distant sounds. Through an archway, you glimpse a private courtyard, where laundry hangs motionless in the still air, white sheets suspended like ghosts of the day's activities. A cat watches you from a windowsill, its eyes catching the light for a moment before it turns away, uninterested in your gentle intrusion. The alleys begin to widen slightly, and you hear it, the unmistakable pulse of flamenco beginning somewhere ahead. Not the polished performance of a tableau, but something more intimate. Following the sound, you emerge into a small square, where life has gathered beneath a sprawling fig tree. A guitarist sits on a low stool, his fingers moving across the strings with practiced ease, drawing out notes that seem to rise from the earth itself. The guitar's voice carries both celebration and lament, joy twisted together with sorrow, until you cannot separate one from the other. Beside him, a woman begins to move, her simple dress swirling as she stamps her feet against the stones. The rhythm starts slowly, building with each measure. Her arms rise and fall like waves, hands turning at the wrists in movements so precise they seem to carve shapes from the air. Others have gathered, locals mostly, leaning against walls or seated on stone steps, their faces soft in the lamplight. An older man begins to clap, his palms creating sharp bursts of rhythm. Others join him, their clapping intricate and syncopated, a language of its own. You find a spot against a wall, feeling the cool stone through your clothes. The music washes over you in waves, each phrase building and releasing tension like breath itself. The guitarist's voice joins now, not singing words so much as releasing sounds from deep in his chest. These are the quejios, the cries that give flamenco its emotional core. Time becomes elastic here. Your breathing slows to match the rhythm, your heartbeat finding harmony with the percussion of heels and hands. Eventually, the intensity begins to ebb. The dancer's movements become gentler, her arms floating down like leaves settling to earth. The guitar grows quieter, more contemplative, until finally, with one last flourish, the performance ends. Soft applause ripples through the crowd. You drift away from the square, carrying the music with you like warmth in your chest. The Barrio guides you naturally toward the river. The lanes widen gradually, and you catch glimpses of the Guadalquivir between buildings, its surface dark and smooth, holding the reflected lights of the city like captured stars. The air changes as you approach the water, becoming fresher, carrying the faint mineral scent of the river mixed with the green smell of the parks along its banks. You emerge onto the riverbank path, and there it stands, the Torre del Oro, glowing amber in the floodlights. Once it guarded Sevilla's river port, watching over ships heavy with treasure from the Americas. Now it stands peaceful, its reflection creating a golden column in the water below. The tower seems to pulse gently in the light, as if breathing with the same rhythm you heard in the Flamenco square. Following the river path, you pass beneath plane trees whose leaves whisper overhead. Benches appear at intervals, some occupied by couples speaking in low voices, others empty and waiting. The bridges span the water ahead. The Puente de Isabel too, with its iron arches, each one strung with lights that create graceful arcs across the darkness. A small boat moves slowly upriver, its engine puttering softly, leaving a gentle wake that catches and scatters the reflected lights. You watch it pass, noting how even this simple movement seems unhurried, as if the boat itself has absorbed the city's nocturnal pace. The path curves, and you find yourself in a small riverside garden. Orange trees stand in neat rows, their fruit hanging like lanterns among dark leaves. A fountain plays somewhere among them, its sound joining the gentle lapping of the river against the stone embankment. You walk slowly between the trees, breathing in their citrus perfume, feeling the soft grass beneath your feet where it grows between the paved paths. From here, you can see the cathedral's Gothic spires rising above the rooftops, and beside them, the Giralda Tower, that marriage of Moorish and Christian architecture that defines Sevilla's skyline. The tower watches over everything with patient constancy, a guardian that has seen empires rise and fall. The city is beginning to quiet now. The distant sounds of conversation and music fade gradually, replaced by night sounds. The chirp of crickets in the gardens, the rustle of leaves, the eternal whisper of water. You can feel Sevilla settling into its deepest hours. You continue along the river, your steps naturally slowing. The air has cooled to a perfect sleeping temperature, and there's a quality to the darkness now that feels soft, almost tangible, like silk against your skin. The last cafes along the riverside are closing, their owners pulling down metal shutters with gentle rattles and clicks. Chairs are being stacked, tablecloths folded, the rituals of ending another day performed with practiced grace. A church bell tolls somewhere in the distance, not urgent or commanding, just marking the hour with bronze notes that float across the rooftops. You count them absently, but lose track, the sounds blending into the night's texture, rather than standing apart from it. As you walk, you notice how your body has absorbed the city's rhythm. Your breathing has become deeper, more regular. Your shoulders have dropped, releasing tensions you didn't know you were carrying. Even your thoughts have slowed, becoming less like words and more like impressions. The warmth of stone, the scent of flowers, the echo of music. The path leads you past one final plaza before the night completes its embrace. Here, a single orange tree stands in the center, its trunk thick with age, branches spreading wide enough to shelter the benches arranged beneath it. The plaza is empty now, except for the soft sound of a fountain in one corner, its water catching the last streetlight. You pause here, feeling how the city has wrapped itself around you like a comfortable blanket. Each layer, sound, scent, sight, adding to a sense of deep peace. Sevilla doesn't demand anything of you except presence, except the willingness to move through its nights at this gentle pace. The Giralda Tower rises ahead, closer now, its illuminated form a beacon of continuity in the darkness. You can make out the delicate tracery of its walls, the perfect proportions that have watched over countless nights like this one. There's comfort in its permanence, in knowing that long after this night passes into memory, the tower will still stand, still watch, still welcome wanderers into Sevilla's embrace. The air stirs slightly, bringing one last wave of orange blossom perfume, one last echo of distant water. You move toward the tower's base, drawn by its ancient presence. Each step brings you closer to those weathered stones that have stood here since the days of Al-Andalus, when muezzins called from these heights. The tower's ancient stones seem to whisper of the climb ahead, each weathered block a step toward the stars waiting above. The city has grown quiet now, as if Sevilla herself is preparing for sleep. The last echoes of footsteps fade from the cobblestones, and the grand boulevards empty of their evening crowds. You find yourself drawn to a small plaza tucked away from the main thoroughfares, where an ancient orange tree spreads its branches wide above a weathered stone bench. The seat is still warm from the day's sun, smooth beneath your touch, polished by countless others who have paused here over the decades. You settle onto the bench, feeling the solid stone support your weight, grounding you in this moment of stillness. Above, the orange tree's leaves whisper to the night breeze, a soft rustling that sounds almost like breathing. The air has cooled to the perfect temperature, no longer carrying the intensity of afternoon heat, but holding just enough warmth to wrap around you like silk. It moves gently across your skin, carrying the lingering perfume of jasmine from a nearby wall, mixed with the green scent of leaves and the faint sweetness of orange blossoms that never quite leaves this city. From somewhere beyond the plaza comes the sound of a fountain, its water falling in an endless, peaceful rhythm. The sound is muffled by walls and distance, transformed into something dreamlike, a lullaby that has been playing for centuries in these ancient quarters. You close your eyes and let the sound wash over you, feeling how it mingles with your own breathing, how it seems to slow time itself. Let yourself breathe deeper, matching the fountain's patient rhythm. The Giralda Tower rises above the rooftops, its form now just a silhouette against the deep blue canvas of night. Stars have begun to emerge, one by one, like memories surfacing from the depths of history. The tower stands patient and eternal, having watched over this city through conquests and celebrations, through ordinary nights just like this one, when tired travelers have found rest beneath the orange trees. Its bells have fallen silent for the night, but you can almost feel their presence, waiting in the belfry, ready to mark tomorrow's hours with the same steady rhythm they've kept for generations. A cat pads silently across the plaza, its shadow flowing like water over the warm stones. It pauses to regard you with luminous eyes, then continues on its nocturnal journey, disappearing into an alley where lamplight barely reaches. The city's cats know all the secret passages, all the quiet corners where the modern world hasn't quite penetrated. The last cafe on the corner is closing now. You hear the gentle clink of glasses being collected, the soft murmur of the owner's voice as he bids goodnight to his final customer. A metal shutter rolls down with a muted rattle, then silence returns. The plaza feels like a theatre after the performance has ended, still holding the echo of the day's drama, but transformed into something more intimate, more personal. Your breathing has deepened without your noticing, matching the slow rhythm of the fountain's song. The stone bench beneath you feels less solid now, more like a boat, gently rocking on calm water. The boundaries between you and the night begin to soften. You are part of this quieting city, part of its nightly transformation, from vibrant life to peaceful rest. Through half-closed eyes, you notice how the lamplight creates pools of golden warmth along the street, alternating with patches of soft shadow. The light isn't harsh or demanding, it's old-fashioned, gentle, designed for human scale and human comfort. It reminds you of candlelight, of the way people lit their nights for centuries before electricity changed everything. Yet even with modern conveniences, Sevilla remembers how to honor the darkness, how to let night be night. A church bell tolls once, somewhere in the distance, the sound rolling across the rooftops like a wave. It's not alarming or urgent, just a gentle marker of time's passage, a reminder that another hour has folded into history. The bronze voice of the bell seems to carry all the weight of ages, all the prayers and celebrations it has announced, all the lives it has measured out in careful increments. You shift slightly on the bench, finding an even more comfortable position. The orange tree above seems to lean down protectively, its branches creating a natural canopy, a room without walls where you can rest undisturbed. Through the leaves you can see fragments of sky, pieces of a vast puzzle that extends infinitely upward. The fountain's voice continues its ancient song, neither beginning nor ending, just flowing in an eternal loop that mirrors the cycles of the city itself. Day to night, season to season, century to century. You feel yourself becoming part of this continuity, your presence here tonight adding one more layer to Sevilla's endless story. Your breath mingles with the night air. Your warmth merges with the warmth still radiating from the stones. Even the shadows seem softer now, more like blankets than darkness. They pool in doorways and gather in corners, creating pockets of deeper rest where the busy day cannot reach. The whole city is settling, sinking into its nighttime rhythm, and you sink with it, supported by stone and history, cradled by the patient branches of the orange tree. Let yourself sink deeper into this embrace. The city holds you now, as it has held countless others through the centuries. In its embrace, you are both alone and accompanied, both present and timeless. The warm stones remember everything, holding everything, so you don't have to. Your eyelids grow heavier, not with exhaustion, but with contentment. The border between waking and sleeping becomes as soft as the shadows around you. Sevilla doesn't demand that you choose one or the other. Here, in this in-between time, in this in-between place, you can simply exist, simply breathe, simply be. The night deepens around you and you sink into it gratefully, feeling how it supports you like water, like air, like the patient earth beneath the plaza stones. The fountain's rhythm continues, steady as a heartbeat, its sound seeming to deepen and expand, as if calling from somewhere beyond the plaza walls. As you drift in this peaceful suspension, the fountain's voice begins to change subtly in your drowsing mind. Its circular song seems to stretch and flow, no longer confined to its stone basin, but reaching outward, suggesting the movement of a greater body of water, somewhere beyond these ancient streets. You sense the fountain's voice joining with something larger, the eternal conversation between the city's many waters, all finding their way, eventually, to the river that has always been Sevilla's lifeline. The sound draws you gently forward, even in stillness, toward whatever dreams await along those distant banks.